Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you how to make this beautiful and intricate square. It's called Tropical Delight and it's been designed by Susan Stevens. The yarn that I'm using to make this square is Greepjes stonewashed yarn. I'm using this in combination with the 4mm crochet hook. And there's an awful lot happening in this square. A lot of details here with the flowers and the small little buds, and there's just an amazing amount of detail in here. So I'll take you step by step through every round that makes up this square. I hope it's a useful video for you, and thank you for watching. Round 1. This is already immediately a tricky round where a lot of things are happening. We start with a chain 4. And close to form a ring. So far so good. Now we're going to make a so-called beginning popcorn, and in this pattern there are different variations. This is variation A. I'm going to start within the ring making a single crochet. A single crochet in the ring. A chain 3, 2, 3, and now in the base of this single crochet we're going to make 3 doubles. So if you look, here's the single crochet, so there's a single crochet, and here on the side there, if you can see that, in there we're going to make 3 double crochets. So that's kind of just punching your hook there into the single crochet. So I'm going to yarn over. And then there's the top of the single. You don't want that. You really want here on the side, on the edge. Have a front loop, and if you turn it around, you'll have a loop here to the back also. It's kind of like a V if you look here from the side. See there? It's getting my hook in there. Going to work a double crochet. And you're going to work 3 of them. I just forget that first one right. There you go, now it's properly done. On the side of that single crochet. Going to work 3 doubles. Just 1. And if you get the first one done, then the rest follow easier. It's 1. And 2. And 3. I'm going to take my hook out and just open up this loop, and now we're going to come back to the beginning of this stitch and then pull through. And the beginning of this stitch is of course the chain 3. So if you look closely, you see here's the other 3 double crochets. Here's a chain 3. So in the 3rd chain from the hook, I'm just going to insert my hook, pick up the loop again, pull tight, and I'm going to pull this loop through the chain 3. Pull without losing it, of course. Pull through the chain 3. And then this is your first popcorn stitch made. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This is to go from one popcorn to the next. Now in the ring we're going to start the next popcorn, and this is what's called a shaped popcorn A. I'm going to start by doing a treble in the ring. So work a treble in the ring. See, there's the treble. Now again in the base of this treble going to work 3 double crochets. Exactly like the single crochet, you see that little V there. Here's the one loop, and there's also a loop there to the back. Sorry. There in that space there you're going to work 3 double crochets. That means this is 1, 2 and 3 double crochets in the base of that treble. To open up, then come to the beginning stitch, which is going to be the treble in this case. Insert my hook in there, and then go back to the first loop, close that loop, and then pull the back loop through the front stitch, like so. And this is your next popcorn made. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now in this popcorn and that chain 3, you're going to do this 7 more times, or 7 times in total I should say, so 6 more times. You want to have 8 of these popcorns. So you already have 2. This is the beginning one here with the chain 3 and this regular one. So now we're going to make 6 more of these, and every time there will be a chain 3 in between. I'm going to show you this once more, and then you can do the other 5 without me. So in the ring, again, start by doing a treble in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Then in the bottom of the treble, on the side of that stitch, going to work 3 double crochets. You can see there at the bottom of the treble. And that's 1 double, 2, and 3. Just going to open this up, go to the first stitch, this is going to be the treble, insert your hook there, pick up your yarn again and pull tight, and then pull this back loop through the front stitches. That's your popcorn made again, and then a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I've done the repeat once more. What I've just done, you're going to do this 5 more times. You want to have 8 of these popcorns. And after your last chain 3, you're going to close on the top of this first popcorn, so on that 3rd chain stitch, and there you're going to close there with a slip stitch. So make 5 more of these popcorns with chain 3s in between. Round 2, again a tricky round. In this round we're making flower petals. You have here the 8 popcorns we did in round 1. In between you've got the chain 3 spaces. In any chain 3 space, doesn't matter which one, attach your yarn with a slip stitch. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At this point, turn your work around. Now you have the back of your work facing. Then moving forward, going to work a slip stitch in the next chain 3 space. Now you're still going to work forward even though your work is turned around, so technically you're now working backwards, but because you've turned it around, this is forward. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This chain 3 is not a stitch. Just keep that in mind. Turn your work again. Now you have the front of your work facing. Then in the chain 5 space we just made, work 10 double crochets in this space. Like I said, this chain 3 here is not a stitch, so that's important. Then in that space work 10 doubles. It's 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10. There you go. 10 double crochets in that first chain 5 space. I'm going to do a chain 1. And this chain 1 after the pedal is notoriously easy to forget. So remember that chain 1. I'm now going to go forward, and in the next chain 3 space work a slip stitch. This completes your first pedal, pedal 1, this one up to that slip stitch. I'm now going to show you pedal 2 and 3, and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 are all the same. So I'm going to show you 2 and 3, and then I'll make a jump in the video and I'll show you 7 and 8 again. First, number 2, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn your work, have the back of your work facing. Here's the slip stitch from the previous pedal. This is also the stitch where we attach the yarn. To the left of that, I'm going to make a slip stitch. If you're left-handed, it will be to the right of that slip stitch. There you can see the first slip stitch, there's the second one we just made. Here's a chain 5 loop. Chain 3, and turn your work to have the right side facing again. Then to the back you'll see this chain 5 loop. In there work 10 double crochets again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 9, move a little bit more, 9, and squeeze that last one in, number 10. 10 double crochets in the chain 5 space. Again, chain 1. Remember the chain 1. In the next chain 3 space, work a slip stitch. That's pedal number 2 made. You can see how number 1 falls over number 2. That gives a nice roof effect, how these are falling on one another. So that was pedal number 2. Number 3, 4, 5, 6 are identical to this one. I'll quickly show you number 3 again, and then I'll do a jump in the video. Chain 5, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn your work around. Then here's the slip stitch from the previous pedal. I'm going to go to the left of that. You see how to the left, and then work a slip stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which is again not a stitch, and turn your work forward again. Then here to the back behind the pedal you'll see the chain 5 loop. Work 10 double crochets in there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, my cat, he wants to go outside. 7, 8, 9, and number 10. I tend to be his porter. Whenever he meows, I need to open the door. Those were 10 double crochets. Chain 1. Remember the chain 1. And I come here in the next chain 3 space and close with a slip stitch. At this point I've done 3 pedals. So the first 1, 2, 3. Now continue and do 4, 5 and 6, and then I'll see you at the start for pedal 7. You now have 6 pedals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to show you 7 and 8. Now 7 starts exactly the same as number 6. I'm going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn, and to the left of the slip stitch work another slip stitch to connect that chain 5. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then turn to the front again. And in the chain 5 space here to the back, going to work 10 doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yes, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Chain 1. And now we're going to close in the next chain 3 space. See, this was the last one we made the slip stitch, so going here, but here you already have a flower petal, so be mindful that you're going to go to the left of the petal you already have and close there with a slip stitch. That is petal 7. Now you still need one more because we need 8. So again, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn your work to the back again, and then here's the last slip stitch, again to the left of that slip stitch, make another slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which doesn't count as a stitch, turn your work forward, then here in the chain 5 loop again 10 doubles, that's your last flower petal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just move them all a bit, 7, 8, 9, and number 10. And then remember the notorious chain 1. And this is your number 8 petal, and now where to join it, so if you just bring it forward, your next chain 3 space is going to be this space here, and we're going to close it on the first slip stitch. So you see that slip stitch there, this is the one that we connected the yarn with. We're going to connect it to that stitch. So, and if all else fails, try to bring that stitch forward. So I'm just going to pull this loop forward, and then there is that slip stitch, but I'm just going to go to do that. Kind of going to bring my stitch between those two slip stitches that are already in there. It's going to go in between the two. You see, in theory you should have had that slip stitch, but you've got 2 in there, and I've just kind of done it in between the 2. You know, that's also good enough. Got to be a little practical sometimes. That completes round 2, and at this point you've already done extremely well, so absolutely be proud of yourself. In the next round we're going to add even more flower petals. For round 3 we're going to be making loops to connect more flower petals to. But before we do the first stitches, I want to mark certain stitches. I'm just going to open this up, that nothing happens to my yarn. I'm going to look at each flower petal. I'm going to mark the 6th stitch. Now remember that the first double crochet is your first stitch. This chain 3 does not count as a stitch. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stitch number 6 I'm going to mark. And for practical reasons I'm actually only going to mark the front loop. The reason is that when we're going to be working in the back loop, then I don't have the stitch marker in the way. So double crochet number 6, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mark the front loop. Do that on every petal. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it'll really make life easier for you if you do. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Front loop. I'm just going to mark that. So I'm quickly going to go all the way around and mark the 6th stitch on every petal, the front loop. So continuing with round 3, after you've placed all the stitch markers in the front loop of those stitches, we're ready for the actual crochet part of this round. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building a frame in round 3 so that in round 4 we can make more petals. Going to start with a chain 3. So from this current position where you're at, from connecting this last flower petal there. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to go to the back of petal 8. This is petal 8, that's flower petal 1. And here at the base of flower petal 1 we're going to make a slip stitch. And that's just kind of to force this chain 3 to the back. So you see that's petal 1 there. So just around the base of that petal, just make a slip stitch. And that chain, there's a chain 3, and now it's connected there to the base. And this petal will just fall over it, so you won't even notice that it's there when when the square is finished, because we're not going to be doing anything with that chain 3. It's just to move our current position. Then again, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to come to petal number 8. It's going to be this one here, and in the back loop of the marked stitch, there in the back loop, we're going to work a slip stitch. And I've actually found this round is easier if at this point we turn our work. Now this, according to the pattern, is not needed, but I find it easier. So in that marked stitch, just going to work a slip stitch there in the back loop. Like so. I'm going to continue with the actual repeat units. So everything we've done now was basically just to get us to this current position here. Chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to come to the first double crochet of this petal, of flower petal number 8. That's the first one. First one we made. If you look at this from the front, it's that stitch. It's the first stitch. And because because you need to work in that first stitch, we need to go kind of counter your working direction. That's the reason why I'm turning my work around. Then through both loops, so the entire stitch, make a slip stitch. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you're going to come to the next flower petal. It's going to be this one here. And where the green stitch marker is, in the back loop of that stitch, I'm going to do a slip stitch. Chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then again come to the first double crochet and through both loops work a slip stitch. So again from the front, see there, that's the first stitch. So remember that chain 3 is not a stitch, so that the real double crochet, that's where you're going for. Through both loops work a slip stitch. And this chain 7 is the same as that chain 7. So what we've just done, we're going to do all the way around. I'll just show you this entire round because this is an important round. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because if you mess this round up, you're going to have trouble getting your petals right in the next one. Then again the marked stitch, back loop. And you can see how easy that it's really much easier if you have the back of your work facing. Otherwise you're going to be working like this and you're going to try to get into that stitches and try to go all the way around. And so I just find it easier if I have the back of my work facing for this round. That was chain 5, and then slip stitch in the marked stitch back loop. Chain 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then come to the first stitch of the same petal, make a slip stitch, chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and back loop of the marked stitch. So you can see why I've only marked the front loop, because then it's easier to just get into the back loop. And chain 7 again. 7, and then come to the first stitch and make a slip stitch. Chain 5, 4, 5, and then the back loop, the next petal of that marked stitch, make a slip stitch, and chain 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and come again to the first stitch through both loops, make a slip stitch. Almost round, we're getting there. See, here's the beginning, so we're getting there. Chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the marked stitch, make a slip stitch. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chains, and again in the first stitch of that petal make a slip stitch through both loops. I'm just having trouble getting into both loops. There we go, through both loops. And again, chain 5, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the back loop of the marked stitch, make a slip stitch, chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then come to the first stitch and make a slip stitch. Once more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain stitches, the back loop of the marked stitch, and then chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then come to the first stitch. If I can just find it, there we go, the first stitch. So be careful not to go into the chain 3, you really want that, the actual double crochet. Now you can see we're almost round. If you look here, you see there was that chain 3 that we used to go up to the petal, and that was the first chain 7 loop. So at this point we need to make a last chain 5 and then close here on this first position also. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in that marked stitch, I mean it's already got a slip stitch in there, so I'm just going to close kind of over it with a slip stitch. If I just turn my work to the front, you can see where you're currently at. So you're in that first position here at the top of the petal number 8, I believe this is. At this point I'm going to remove the stitch markers, and then we're ready for the next round in which we're going to be building more flower petals. Round 4. In this round we're only going to be working in the chain 5 spaces. Now take a moment to look at your work. On any flower petal you'll see a loop that's really on top of the petal. This is your chain 7 space. Between 2 flower petals you'll also see a loop. This is your chain 5 loop. That's the one we're going to be working in this round. So between every flower petal you see here this chain 5, that's the one we're going for. Then on top of every petal you've got another loop, that's a chain 7 loop. We're only going to use that one later on. So this round, everything in the chain 5 loop, that's between flower petals, and we're going to skip the chain 7s. Now in every loop, in every chain 5 loop, we work a single crochet, 9 doubles and a single crochet. Now I'm currently kind of in over this these slip stitches here. So what I want to do is I'm going to work a single crochet over those stitches. So I'm just going to punch my hook in there, pick up my yarn and work a single crochet. And now it's not an exact science where you put that single crochet, so don't stress too much if it's not in exactly the same position as it is where I have mine. Everything's the same color yarn and you won't notice anything weird about it. I'm going to go to the next chain 5 space. I'm going to work a single crochet, 9 doubles and a single crochet in there. So this is my next chain 5 space. So be mindful you've got these chain 3 loops there. Ignore those, you don't need them. You only need this chain 5 here. So I'm going to do a single, and I'm just going to move it up, and then 9 doubles. That's 1, 2, and this is going to need some squishing. 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm really going to have to move them up. 7, 8, and 9 double crochets, and then another single in there also. You're really going to have to move this all up to get them to fit, and then a single crochet. After the first flower petal, we can continue to the next one. You see here the chain 7 loop. You don't want that chain 7. Go to the next chain 5, the one that's between the petals. So I'm going to bring my hook over to the chain 5 space, and in the process the chain 7 is going to go to the back. And then work a single crochet in the chain 5. You can see how that chain 7 here kind of just falls to the back. That's 1 single and then 9 doubles. 2, oh sorry, that's 1 I mean. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just move them up a bit. 7, 8, and number 9, and another single crochet in the same petal. That's petal number 2. What we've just done, I'm going to do this in every petal all the way round. So just to get you started, here's a chain 7. Just don't need that one because it's on top of the petal. You want the loop that's between the petals. So I'm going to go to the chain 5. In the process, the chain 7 goes to the back, and then we work a single crochet followed by 9 doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. I don't know if you can hear my cat. He's on the outside of the door this time, and now he wants to come in. Like I say, I'm his door opener. And now I've lost count because of him. That's the single, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 doubles. 7, and I need 2 more. 7, 8, and 9 doubles, and then the 1 single crochet. That was the 3rd petal for this round. You're going to repeat this all the way around. Just open up. So now you're going to skip the next chain 7, and here in the chain 5 work a petal, and then the next chain 5, etc., etc. And here's my last chain 5. That's here. And then we're going to close with a slip stitch on that first single crochet. So you're going to do this. I'll just see you here after you've done this last petal, this last chain 5 space. I'll just see you back for the closing of this round. So just for the end of round 4, I have here the last flower petal and that single crochet. You have here the first petal you made, and that's this chain 7 loop in between. So I'm just going to go onto the first single crochet of the next petal. I'm just going to bring these two together. In the process, that chain 7 loop goes to the back. Just close in there with a slip stitch. I'm going to cut my yarn because the next round I'm using a different color. And I'm just going to open this up. And that's round 4. And this was again a very hard round. You can be rightly proud of yourself because you now have these beautiful flower petals. Round 5. This round we're going to be making a slip stitch embellishment on the flower petals. I'm going to use a different color yarn because then you can really see the slip stitches. Now it doesn't matter where you start this round. You're going to work a slip stitch in every single crochet and in every double crochet, so it doesn't matter where you start. You can see I still got my yarn tails to the back, still need to do that. But okay, any position you like. I'm going to start here in this first single crochet of a petal. I'm just going to attach my yarn with the slip stitch. And now go to the next stitch and work a slip stitch. And go to the next and work a slip stitch. If you find that you work this round too tight, go up a hook size. Because you want these slip stitches to be loose, that they don't curl your flower petals. And working slip stitches, it can happen that you work too tight, that you pull too tight on your yarn. If that happens, just go up a hook size. What you can see I'm doing is in every stitch, every double crochet and every single crochet, work a slip stitch. Just going to continue and just go over to the next flower petal. You can just see how to do that. And then here's the single crochet from this petal. That's the last single. And then just go over to the next stitch, which is the next single on the next petal. And then here's another double. I'm going to continue this and go all the way around. You can see how you're getting a lovely decorative edge on your flower petal. Continue on all of these petals from round 4, and I'm just going to see you here when you get to this point, because I just want to show you how to make that last stitch with an invisible joining method, that you get a beautiful continuous chain loop all around. I'm almost all the way around. You can see here I started. I still have a few stitches left. It's going to do, you see I have 3 stitches left before I get back to the first one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work a slip stitch on this stitch and on the next and on that last one. And now the next stitch is the first one here, that one there. I'm not going to join there with a slip stitch. I'm going to open up, I'm going to cut my yarn, to open up, and I'm just going to use my needle for this last stitch. What I need to do, because you see this is the stitch where I attached my yarn. So through that stitch, just underneath both loops, just go with my needle and then come back to the stitch just worked and push my needle through to the back. And you are going to just have to fashion this a little bit, but you see here you've just made a little loop, and that loop, when you look at it from, wow, it looks exactly the same as this loop here. So this way you don't notice where you've made your beginning and your end, so then you get a nice continuous flower edge here. I'm going to work away these yarn tails and then we can start the next round. For round 7 we're going to be working in the chain 7 loops here to the back, but also in the flower petals we've just made. And I'm actually going to mark a certain stitch again just to make life easier for us. We're going to be working in the chain, in the stitches from round 4, so that's the white chains you see. They're not the slip stitches in the red that we made in the previous round. We're going to be working in the white stitches, that's round 4. And we're going to be marking the center stitch. Remember, you have a single crochet, then you've got 9 doubles and a single crochet. We need the center of those 9 doubles, so that will be the 5th stitch. And just to help you count, you see here's that first one there, that's the single crochet. If you can see, this is kind of hidden in there. That little stitch there, that's the single crochet, that one. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This here is the 5th stitch, that's the center one. I'm just going to mark this stitch, and I'm only going to mark the front loop because we're going to be working in the back loop of that stitch. I'm going to do this for every petal because then when I'm working I don't have to go and try to figure out exactly which stitch I need. So that's a single crochet. They're right in the wedge between the 2 petals. That's the single crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. This is stitch number 5. And again I'm going to mark the front loop. I'm just quickly going to do that for all the flower petals, and then we're ready to start the round. So to start round 7 with a new color yarn, I'm going to attach my yarn in the back loop of any one of these marked stitches. So that's the 5th double crochet in the back loop. Doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to attach my yarn with the slip stitch. Chain 2. 1, 2. Now you're going to come back and you've got the chain 7 loop here to the back. We're going to be working in this loop. Now we're not going to be actually working through the loop, but we're going to work through the center single crochet. You've got 7 here, so the 4th one would be the center one. Now, I'm okay if you just eyeball where exactly the center is. So for me, you don't really have to go and count this. So in your center single crochet, we're going to work, or sorry, chain stitch, we're going to work in there. It's not in the actual loop, but in a stitch. And we're going to make a popcorn stitch. And we're going to start this with a treble, so it's twice over, like I say, and then you've got this loop here, so just kind of eyeball where your center is, go into that chain stitch, and then complete a treble. 1, 2, 3. Now this shaped popcorn, we're going to work 2 doubles in the base of the treble. To yarn over, and then here in the base of the treble, from the side, I'm going to work 2 doubles. As you see there in the base of that treble, I'm going to work 2 doubles. 1 and 2. Oh dear, just do that again. 2 doubles. And I realize that the pattern now also wants to do a chain 1. Personally, because they've got 2 different types of popcorns here for these leaves, I'm going to mirror, I'm going to make them symmetrical, so I'm not going to do that chain 1 there. I'm going to open up, come to the first treble, insert my hook, pick up the loop again, and pull through. Now I'm going to do a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I realize that the pattern here does chain 3, and that's how I've compensated for that chain 1. So I've done the popcorn, then I do a chain 4. The pattern does the popcorn and kind of integrates that chain 1 into that. So I just kind of prefer this way because it's slightly easier for me. Less chances to make mistakes. Now I'm going to come down, and in the position where you already have this treble, in that same position in the chain, just going to make a slip stitch through there. There you go. So now you've got the popcorn and you've got that chain 4. Then another chain 4 to come back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're again going to make a popcorn like we just did in this stitch. So again, twice over for the treble, so these shaped popcorns. Then in that same position, it gets easier as you get more and more stitches in there. I'm going to work a treble, and now work 2 doubles along the side of this treble. So in the base of that treble, work a double crochet and a second double crochet. Let's open up and then come to the first stitch. It's a double crochet. Oh, that's a treble. I'm going to insert my hook in the treble, pick up my yarn again, and pull through to complete the popcorn. So what you see here is you've got this popcorn, the chain 4, and another chain 4, and the popcorn. Chain 2, 1, 2, and now come to your next flower petal. You see here the marked stitch. Then in the back loop of that stitch, work a slip stitch. And this you're going to repeat all the way around, because this slip stitch here is exactly the same as that slip stitch there. So everything I've just done, I'm going to do this all the way around, and then close here with a slip stitch again in that first stitch. I'll show you the repeat once more. So to do the repeat a second time, I'm going to chain 2. And let me just get a bit of yarn here. Then go to the back to your chain 7 here to the back. There's a chain 7. Then you just kind of eyeball where the center of that chain 7 is and work a treble through that center chain stitch. And if it's one position to the left or to the right, it's really not going to be a disaster. Just through that chain stitch work a treble. 2, 3. Now on the edge of this treble, so here to the side on the base, work 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. I'm going to open this up and go to the start of that treble and pick up the yarn and pull through. It's my first popcorn. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, I do this slightly different to the pattern because I find this easier. Then slip stitch in that same chain stitch. Chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now work another treble in that same position. Just twice over. Work a treble. And now in the base of that treble, again 2 doubles. Just turning my work slightly so I can really see the side of that stitch. And then complete the treble. And of course don't lose your yarn. 1 and 2. Open up, go to the treble, pick up the loop and pull through. Chain 2, 1, 2, and come to the next flower petal, the marked stitch, and take the back loop. And now you've done the repeat 2 times. You can see here these flower petals, or the actually it's more leaves that you've just made. Continue this all the way around, and when you're here to the first stitch, so there in that marked stitch, you're going to close in the marked stitch with a slip stitch. Round 7. I purposefully have left the stitch markers in because we'll be using the same stitches for this round also. We're going to start in any position where we have a stitch marker. Doesn't matter which position you choose. A new color yarn on my hook and a slip knot, and then in any marked position I'm going to make a single crochet in the back loop covering the slip stitch that's already in there. So I'm going to go through the back loop of the marked stitch, then covering the slip stitch that's already in there to make a single crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to come to the popcorn stitch, this shaped popcorn stitch, and we're going to make a front post slip stitch around it. That means around the popcorn, pick up your yarn and make a slip stitch. And this kind of brings the popcorn together even more than it already was. Chain 2, 1, 2, and the first one might be a little tricky. See how it's around that popcorn? Then in the middle you've got here the slip stitch that's in this space from round 7. Over that we're going to make a popcorn stitch, and this time a popcorn A. So again I'm going to start with a treble, then in that stitch, covering the slip stitch that you have in there, make it double, make it treble. Then on the side of the treble, going to make 3 double crochets. So here in the base, the treble, make 3 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, to open up, go to that first stitch, the first treble, pick up your yarn and pull through. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now in the same position, make another one of these popcorns. Twice over, in that same position. Might feel a little crowded in there, don't worry. Make a treble, and then on the side of that treble, pick up and work 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3 doubles. Open up, come to the first treble, pick up the loop again and pull through. Chain 2, 1, 2, and now you're going to come to the next popcorn and work a front post slip stitch around that again. And you see here's the chain 4. Just going to go just through the chain 4 around the popcorn and make a tight slip stitch. And you want this to be tight because what you're doing is you're giving these leaves, they're going to pop even more with that slip stitch. See there around the popcorn. Chain 2, 1, 2, and now come again to the position where you have the marked stitch, and in the back loop work a single crochet over the slip stitch that's already in there. This single crochet is the same as that single crochet. That's what I've just done. You need to repeat that 7 times more all the way around. And you close here on the first single crochet with a slip stitch. I'll show you the repeat once more and then you can do it on your own. Start again with a chain 2. 1, 2. Around the first popcorn leaf you have here, going to work a slip stitch, a front post slip stitch. I'll just show you that properly. Maybe went a little fast. This is the popcorn. Grab your yarn and really pull that tight. Make the slip stitch. Chain 2. 1, 2. Then in the center of this chain 7, so kind of covering this slip stitch you have here, we're going to make a shaped popcorn. Twice over, insert in that position, kind of covering that center stitch, work a treble, and now work 2 more double crochets in that same position, or 3 more double crochets I should actually say, on the edge of this treble. See, right in the base of that treble, then work 3 doubles. That's 1, 2, 3. Come to the first stitch, back up, pull through. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now work a second popcorn in the same place. Twice over for the treble. And I know it's kind of full in there, so just going to squash that next treble in there, next to it. In the base of the treble, work 2, 3 doubles. That's 1 and 2 and 3 doubles, 3 doubles. come back to the first treble, pick up your yarn, pull through, chain 2, a front post slip stitch around this leaf, around the popcorn leaf, a front post slip stitch, chain 2, and a single crochet in the marked stitch back loop, covering the slip stitch that's already in there. And again, now you're at the beginning of the repeat unit. Then the repeat twice with you, do the other 6, and you get to your first stitch here. After that, chain 2, close here with the slip stitch. Round 8, I have a slip knot on my hook, and we're going to start in any of the marked stitches. This is the last round where you need the marked stitches. After this you can remove the stitch marker. If you look at the marked stitch, you'll see there's an awful lot of stitches in there. You've got that single crochet, you've got the slip stitch. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be working 2 slip stitches, one on either side of this single crochet. So on this side of the stitch and on that side of the stitch. I'm going to start with the first one. So on the first half, I'm going to start there with the slip stitch. Now I'm going to go to the other side of the loop. Just kind of bring your yarn with you. Work a slip stitch there. Now you can remove the stitch marker. That's the first bit of the repeat unit. Do a chain 1, chain 1. Now we're doing a front post double crochet around this popcorn, the first popcorn, that's the leaf. So you've got that slip stitch in there. Over that we're going to do a front post double crochet. So yarn over, then around the popcorn, covering the slip stitch, make a front post double crochet. Next up you have this chain 2 space. In there we're going to work 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. The next popcorn, this is the flower bud. I'm going to do a front post single crochet around this popcorn. So again, around the popcorn, pick up the yarn and work a single crochet. That again brings the popcorn even tighter together. You have the chain 3 space here in the middle. I'm going to work 3 doubles, chain 1 and 3 doubles in there. That's 1, 2, 3 doubles, chain 1. Just going to move them up a bit, and then 3 more doubles. 1, 2, 3 doubles. The next popcorn, again a flower bulb, I'm going to do a front post single crochet around the popcorn. Oh, come on, it just keeps slipping off my hook. And a single crochet. See how it really shapes that popcorn even more. The chain 2 space here, the red one, going to work 5 double crochets in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. There we go. The next popcorn, that's the green one here. I'm going to do a front post double around that one. And again, see that chain 4 there, you want to skip that. You really want to work around the popcorn, and then you're going to cover the front post slip stitch that you already have in there. Front post double crochet. Chain 1, important, remember the chain 1, it's also got one on this side, so either side. And now we're going to come to the next marked stitch, and we're going to make a slip stitch on either side of the marked stitch. Back loop. First one, make a slip stitch, and then go to the other side of everything that's happening in there and make another slip stitch. And these 2 slip stitches are exactly the same as the ones we started with. So what we've just done, these little petals, going to do that all the way round. I'll show you the repeat once more. To remove the stitch marker, because I don't need it anymore. And I'll show you the repeats again. Chain 1. Remember the chain 1. Front post double crochet around the green popcorn, being mindful you don't want that chain split stitch, only the popcorn itself, and work a front post double. Can you hear my cat snoring in the background? So sorry. Front post double, the chain 2 space to the back, 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, just move them a bit, just make a bit more room, and 5 double crochets. Next popcorn is the flower. I'm going to do a front post single. So around the popcorn, and work a single. The chain 3 space between these 2 popcorns, and there you're going to do 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3 doubles, chain 1, just move everything up, and then 3 more doubles, 1, 2, 3. Next popcorn is a flower, so the front post single, around the popcorn do a front post single, in the chain space 5 doubles, so 1, 2, 3 more, 3, 4, and 5. The next popcorn needs a front post double, so around only the popcorn, front post double, chain 1, remember the chain 1, and then come down to the marked stitch. We're going to do a slip stitch on either side. First on this side, see how I'm just picking up that loop, and there's an awful lot happening there, I realize that. And 1 slip stitch, and then come to the other side of that loop and work another slip stitch. Now you can remove the stitch marker. There we go. That was the second repeat. again, just a little time consuming this round with all these petals. Now you've done 2 times, going to do 6 more. And after your last petal, you're going to work the last petal, then you do a chain 1, and then close here on the first slip stitch. You can close there with a slip stitch also, and you can cut your yarn. Round 9. This round we're going to be squaring up the flower we have at the moment. I have a slip knot on my hook, and where we're going to be making most of our stitches, they're going to be in either the single crochet that you have here behind the slip stitches. You've got these two, just remove that slip stitch. You have here these flower petals we just made, then kind of in between you've got the slip stitches, and then to the back there you've got a single crochet. That's for me in the red. I'm going to be working in that single crochet, going to be working into that stitch, and we're also going to be working in the chain spaces that we work the petals into. You've got here these 5 double crochets we worked on either side, and between the 5 double crochets and the front post slip stitch, in there, in that space, we're going to be making stitches, but from the back. So in that space there, and on this side, in this space here. So between the front post single crochet and that first double crochet. So in that space, and on the other side, in there. Going to be making stitches in there, and here in this single crochet that's behind the slip stitches. That's what we're going to be working into in this round. So let me just get my yarn back on my hook, slip stitch on my hook. I'm going to start with a single crochet after any front post single crochet. So if you look at this flower petal, you've got here a front post single crochet. You've also got one on this side, but you're going for that second one. And in here, and we're going to do this from the back. Important. From the back, in that space, just going to roll forward and work a single crochet. If you look closely, you see that little loop there. That's from the stitch we just made. So it's between the front post single crochet and these 5 doubles. Kind of squished in there, you worked a single crochet from the back. Chain 2. 1, 2. We're now going to do a double crochet in this next single crochet that's from round 7, I believe it is, the red one. In that single crochet, going to do a double in there. Work a double crochet. Chain 2 again. Now we're going to come to the next flower petal, and here work a single crochet from the back in the space between the 5 doubles and the front post. So in that space there, but from the back. Just going to push my hook from the back between those stitches. Just going to kind of roll over to really get around it. So that's between the stitches. Work a single crochet. If you then look from the front, if you look closely, you see that little stripe there. That's the stitch we just made. Chain 2 again. Every time you're going to have a chain 2 between things that you're making. Go over, and we're going to come to the other side, to this front post single, but this time around we're going to make a double crochet because we're going to work up to a corner. So that's why we're doing a double crochet here. Yarn over, and then again between the front post single and the 5 doubles, just going to work a double crochet in there. That's a double crochet. Again, if you look closely, you see the little stitch there. Chain 2, 1, 2. Next position we're working is going to be in the single crochet that's again behind the slip stitches. But this time we're going to make a corner. And we're going to make triple trebles. It's going to be 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Then into that stitch in that single crochet. Pick up your yarn and take off 2 loops at a time. While you're doing so, I'm just going to guide these loops so to keep everything nice and secure. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1. Going to do a few more. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and again 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and in that same position, same single crochet, take off once, 2 times, 3, 4, 5, chain 3. This is your new corner. 1, 2, 3. This is actually your new corner space. Now we're going to make 3 more triple trebles in the same position. 1, 2, 3 times yarn over. Insert your hook. Take off 1, 2. Oh no, I've got 1 yarn over, not enough. You need 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Up and then take off once, 2, and we do that again. And sometimes these are tricky. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Sometimes these stitches are tricky, and then you just do them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and again 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Oh dear, just a moment. Got my yarn knotted here somehow. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And one last 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. All in that same single crochet. 5 times. There we go. That is your new corner made. A very impressive corner you've just made. Chain 2. 1, 2, and now again to the back here, between these 5 double crochets and the front post, single, make a double crochet. And the reason why you're doing a double crochet here is because you're just coming off the corner. That's the corner you just made. You've got this framework here to the back. We'll be working in that also in the next round. Chain 2, 1, 2, and then on the other side, so in this last 5 doubles and the single, front post single, work as single crochet in between there. This single crochet is exactly the same as the single crochet we just started with, this standing single. So we're going to do this 4 times in total, so you need to do 3 more. And it'll curl a little bit inward at this point. Don't worry about that. When we do the next round, it'll help to open up this square and the framework that we've built. So we've just done, do this 3 more times to go to get a full corner. And be mindful of these triple trebles. They're not easy. I'll give you that much. I'll do the repeats once more with you. and then I'll make a jump to the next round. So you do the repeats 3 and 4 on your own, and I'll show you repeat 2 once more. So we start, we have that single crochet in there, chain 2, 1, 2, do a double crochet in the next single, so it's going to be that one there to the back, so double crochet in there, chain 2, 2, and then a single from between these 5 doubles and that front post single. Insert my hook in there, just kind of roll over and work that stitch. Chain 2, 1, 2, and on the next one going to do a double crochet because we're going up to a corner again. So between this front post single and the double, work a double crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2, and now we're going to work those triple trebles again, exactly the same as this side. Going to do over there in that single crochet. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and you can see as I'm taking off these loops and I'm holding onto the posts that I'm creating and thereby guiding them, and also preventing this top loop from opening up a lot, because that can happen. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that kind of helps to prevent that. But these stitches, they are just a little bit of practice. 3 triple trebles, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and again 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over, and we do 3 more of them. Guiding my stitches as I go. 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we take off the loops 5 times. 2, 3, 4, and the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then that is our new corner made. Chain 2, 1, 2, and a double crochet between front post single and the 5 doubles. Just kind of roll over and complete the double crochet. Chain 2, 1, 2, and then come to the other side and work this single crochet. And again, this single is exactly the same as that one, and the same as, where is it? That one. So what we've just done, do this on your other 2 corners also. After your last chain 2, close here with a slip stitch. Round 10. This round we're going to be building on the square that we made in round 9. Just going to move with a slip stitch to the next chain 2 space. I'm going to start my first double crochet here with a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is my first double crochet in that chain 2 space. Then work a second double crochet in that same stitch. So in that space you've got 2 double crochets in the space. On the next stitch, that's a double crochet, work a double on there. Next chain 2 space, 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. On the next stitch, work 1 double crochet. And in the next space, that's going to be this chain 2 space, work only 1 double. Just take note, only 1 double crochet in here. on the double crochet, work one double, and on the next space work again only one double. Next up, we're at the front post trebles, or the triple. No, these are triple trebles, and we're going to work front post trebles on them. There we go, I've got to say that right. So twice over, because we want to make a triple, and a front post. So around the front of the posts, pick up your yarn and work a treble. Now we're going to work a double crochet, but between these stitches. So not really on either one of them, but just kind of in between. Work a double. Again, a front post treble around the next triple treble. And again, a double crochet in between the stitches. And these double crochets help you to fill out the corner. And again, a front post treble around the last triple treble. In the chain 3 corner space, work a new corner. It's going to be 2 doubles, 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles, and 2 doubles. Then this brings us to the corner, and we can now start the full repeat on the next straight edge. So for the repeat on the straight edge, I'm going to start with a front post treble on the triple treble, 2, 3, and a double crochet between the stitches, kind of in that natural space there. And again, the front post treble, and a double crochet in between. And on the last one, a treble, and that kind of fills out your corner. In the chain 1 or the chain 2 space here, work a double crochet. On the double, work another double crochet and 1 in the space. 1 double on the single, and then 2 doubles in this space. So 1, 2. Next double is the center stitch. Next stitch should be here in the center. Going to work 1 double on there. You're working symmetrical, so this has to be the same as that. So you're working 2 doubles in here. That's 1, 2 doubles, then 1 on the stitch, 1 in the space. 1 on the stitch, 1 in the space. Now you're onto this side of the corner again. There's a front post treble, and that's a double kind of in between the stitches. So not really on either one of the stitches, but really in between. Another treble, front post, and a double in between. Last treble, front post. Now you're onto the corner, work 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. 1 and 2. And this corner is again exactly the same as that corner. So just to show you the rhythm here, you're always working 1 double crochet in the spaces except for the center. You've got the 1 double crochet in the center, and either side of that you've got 2 doubles. For the rest you always have 1 double crochet on a stitch or in a space. And on your corner you've got the front post trebles and the double crochets in between, so kind of filling out your corner. This straight edge, do that on your other edges also. And here after on your last edge you're going to work 2 doubles in this last chain 2 space, then work a double crochet on that stitch there, and then close on your chain 3 with a slip stitch. Round 11, new kind of yarn on my hook. I'm going to start this round in any chain 2 corner space, just slightly deviating from the pattern here because the pattern starts in this last stitch. I'm just going to start in the corner. I'm going to start in there with a standing double crochet, followed by a second double, chain 2, and 2 more doubles in the same space. 1 and 2. I'm going to start the straight edge. The pattern says to skip the first stitch and then work a double in the second and a treble. I'm going to choose to work a double in that first stitch. The reason is the logic of the row will just be easier for you because you already had a lot to deal with in this pattern. So I'm just going to work a double crochet in the first 2 stitches. So this is slightly different from the pattern, so just take notes. 1, 2, so double in each of the first 2 stitches. Then around the front post, work a front post double. Followed by a double crochet in the stitch next to it. Front post around the front post, and a double crochet. And again a front post double, and then another double crochet. Next we're going to be catching this flower petal here. You can see this is kind of loose, it's a bit dangling there. We're going to catch this petal and connect it to our work. If you see this petal here, you've got this chain 1 space that's kind of in the middle there. We're going to yarn over because we're going to do a double crochet, and then that chain 1, going to just hook up the back loop of that chain, and then go to your next stitch and connect through that stitch and work a double crochet. Now you've connected the petal to your work. 9 double crochets on the next stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 double crochets. The next stitch we're again going to catch the next flower petal. Yarn over, then look for your chain space, and that's the chain 1. Just take the back loop and go through your next stitch and secure together. To the edge, a double crochet on every double and a front post on every front post. It's kind of easy. You've had the worst, seriously. You've had the worst. From here on it's easy sailing. And another front post, and then a double on your last 2 stitches. On the corner, 2 doubles, chain 2 and 2 doubles. And then this corner is the same as that corner. So you're just done here. Do it on your other 3 edges also, and after your last double here, close with a slip stitch. For round 12, we're going to be making decorative slip stitches just like we did here on these flower petals. We're going to do the same. You can start on any stitch, doesn't matter which stitch. So I'm just going to take this one here and we'll work a slip stitch in every stitch. Again, if you feel that your slip stitches are too tight, go up a hook size for this round. I'm going to work 2 slip stitches in the corner. I'm just going to go through a chain loop. You can do it like this. You can. That's also fine, but you can also do it by actually picking up one of the loops from the chain. It's either way. You can do both. And then go on to the next stitch and work a slip stitch again. So that way you're going to make a decorative edge along this round. Go all the way around, working 2 slip stitches in the corner and 1 on every stitch. And when you come back round, I'll just show you how to make that last join again. Almost round. Just going to work the last few slip stitches. And this last one I'm just going to do in a different way. I'm going to cut my yarn. Open up. I'm just going to make an invisible join on this. And with these slip stitches I like to do it with a needle because it just gives me more control. Go through both loops of that last stitch. Or actually the first one I should say. It's the first stitch. And then come back through the last stitch, and I can just go through to the back, and now you've just made that last stitch there. And now it's a continuous loop. You don't see where you started or where you finished. You can work away these yarn tails and you're ready for the next round. Round 13, I have a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in any chain 2 corner space. Start there with a standing half double. I'm going to go over all chains, so also the slip stitches in this that are in there. I'm just going to cover everything. It's a standing half double, followed by another half double, chain 2, and 2 more half doubles, and 2. That's the first corner made. We're going to skip the first stitch and then work a half double on every stitch. And we're actually going to do that in the purple stitches here. So you're not going to work in these slip stitches that you just made. You're going to work in those purple stitches there to the back. You're going to skip the first stitch. This here is the first stitch. So this is the second one. So if I just come back up, that's the second stitch. No, sorry, that's the third stitch. This here is the second stitch. That's the one you're going for. Just open it up. That stitch. It's actually easier skipping that first stitch because we do have those slip stitches in there. It kind of makes it a little messy. But this is the second stitch. That's the one you're going for. And like I say, only working in the purple stitches, so we're not working in the slip stitches. And then work a half double on every stitch until you get to the other side See, you just have to kind of eyeball this, that you don't work into your slip stitches, but you just want to be kind of above them, you see, kind of above your slip stitches, that you don't work through them. And this way you get this slip stitch edge here, and that's going to be a nicely decorative edge. So the next stitch, again through both loops of the stitch and being above those slip stitches. So continue like this, work a half double on every stitch, and when you get to the corner, work 2 half doubles, chain 2 and 2 half doubles. Remember to skip the first stitch and then continue all the way round. Round 14, last round of the pattern. A new color yarn on my hook. I'm going to start with a standing half double in any chain 2 corner space, followed by a second half double, chain 2 and 2 more half doubles. I'm going to skip the first stitch and then work a half double in every stitch. Now this here is the first stitch, so we're going to skip that. That's going to be the next one. Going to work in there, and then work a half double on every stitch. Get to the next corner stitch, work 2 half doubles, chain 2, 2 half doubles. Again, skip the first stitch and then work a half double on every stitch. Continue all the way around and close to your first stitch with a slip stitch. When you finish the last round, this is what your square looks like. I still have a few yarn tails here to the back, so I'm just going to work those away, and then I'm going to block this square just to get it nice and crisp. When you've blocked your square, this is what your fabulous square looks like, nice and flat and with all these beautiful flowers. Brings us to the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.